Good morning. Must be Monday. Here I am. Um, so I want to talk this morning briefly about rewards and awards. As many of you know, I belong to the Society for Creative Anachronisms, or the SCA, and one of the things that we do very well in the SCA is reward people. There is a certain level of joy in rewarding somebody, acknowledging the hard work that they've put in, and seeing them stood up in front of the crowd and having somebody with a pointy hat, a crown, saying, "This is a person who has worked hard and has done amazing things, and this is why." This world that we live in, the real world, is very businesslike in a lot of ways. We're missing out on some of that. So when people go to Ren fairs or band camp or to SCA or other places like that, Boston Comic Con, all of those things, the reason that they feel so good is that they receive kudos when they put effort in. People in the school system have taken that to mean that they need to gamify, to use their word, um, schooling. And I don't think that's the case. I think that there's an important reason to allow kids to be bored and learn how to entertain themselves and learn how to learn. But on the other hand, rewarding hard work and holding it up as something to be something to strive for is a wonderful thing. I last year, I think it was last year, got in the SCA my silver wheel and my AOA. AOA is a word of arms. It recognizes me as being a lady within the SCA. And my silver wheel recognizes that I do a lot of work for my barony. And I do. I do heraldry. And so I run courts and I help people register their armory. I help comment on armory at a kingdom level. I'm very involved in educating other people in heraldry and about SCA. And I do a lot of work to bring people into the SCA because I believe that the best way to learn about history is to be a part of it. It makes it fun, and we remember the fun things. We tell stories about the fun things. Um, when was the last time you told a rousing story about what happened at the office? Probably never, because it doesn't happen. The office is the place you go so that you can go to the SCA. What I think we need to be doing is appreciating that rewarding both ourselves and one another is an important thing. Not in some official capacity. This is not the government needs to or the school system needs to or whatever. That's not what I'm talking about. When was the last time that you went up to a friend and said, "I know that you've been struggling with depression, and I just want to say, I recognize the amount of work you've put in being out of the house. You're awesome, thank you." Those words, or, "I know that you've struggled in finding a job and that you're not in the job that you want to be, but wow, the amount of effort you've put in is phenomenal, and I see that." Taking that moment doesn't hurt you, it takes nothing away from you, and it lifts the other person up. And that's the reward or the award that I'm talking about. As an author, for me, some of that is seeing my book in print, having the actual copy in hand. That is my award. But also, when I see reviews of my book, even if there are things that I disagree with in the review, the fact that somebody went to the trouble to read what I wrote and then write about it, wow, that right there, that's a gold star on my paper. It makes me happy. And I try to do that for other authors as well. I'm not as good at it as I should be, considering I'm on here telling you all to do it. But Taking that time to go and let other people know your appreciation for whatever it is that they are doing is wicked important. It's got to be done. We need to get better at it in this country. One of the things that I was at Pride on Saturday. It was a lot of fun. And boy, 750,000 of my closest friends. I think I must have touched every single butt because we were jammed in like sardines and it was awesome. But while I was there, I saw people lifting other people up. And that's what's missing out in the real world. We need to lift each other up. And I dare say we need to lift each other up, more importantly, when we disagree with other people. So there are some things that I vehemently disagree with my partner on, politically speaking, um, you know, and that's okay. We love each other, even when we disagree, even maybe because we disagree on certain things. That's okay. There are a couple of topics that we just don't bring up around one another because it's kind of angsty. But every once in a while, we agree to sit down and we talk things out and see if our positions have changed and see if our feelings have changed. We don't teach children how to coexist with people who don't agree with us. What we've been teaching them is how to find people who agree with you and then spend time only with those people. And that's not what life is about. Half of the people out there that you're going to interact with for the rest of your life are going to disagree with you on something. We need to go back to learning how to hear what other people are saying. We also need to learn how to reward ourselves, how to speak our piece peacefully and not get caught up in the butt hurt when somebody else disagrees. We're not the asshole whisperers, okay? If somebody listens to you and disagrees with you, they might be a jerk or they might not. Even if they're a jerk, that's okay. They don't have to believe as you believe. You can even still hang out with them if they don't believe as you believe. That's all right. And in fact, we should be doing more of that, sitting down with our enemies. If you happen to be a Christian spiritual person, that's what Jesus did. He sat down with tax collectors and prostitutes, right? So, how many of our politicians are doing that today? I'm not seeing a lot of that. They're not leading by example. How about we start teaching our leaders about this by doing the examples ourselves? I think that's really important. I think it's important to constantly challenge ourselves and to not allow ourselves to fall into an echo chamber where the only voices we hear are the voices that agree with us. As an author, those words are still hard to say. That's part of my award. As an author, it's my job to challenge people to think outside the box. And as a fiction author, it's my job to challenge people to think outside the box in a fun way, in a way that maybe sneaks up on them. You know, you're getting grooved in with this character, you're enjoying what they have to say, and suddenly they're making words that you don't agree with, but you still like the character. Uh-oh, what do you do now? That's what we need to have. We need to have people who are willing to write things that don't meet the status quo. Even if it's something that you as an author, as the author, don't believe in. Not all of my characters think the way that I think. Heck, most of my characters don't think the way that I think. They're older, they're wiser. Some of them have, formed their morals back in the Victorian era or in the Viking era. They don't think the way that I think as an author born in the 70s. We have to embrace that our characters can and should be different from us. They need to espouse beliefs that are contrary to our own. Because in doing so, we ourselves become more rounded people. We ourselves learn more about ourselves as human beings interacting with the rest of the universe. So, I will challenge you this week. My challenge to you is to pull up a character who is 180 degrees from you. Somebody who is, so for instance, if you happen to be a person who is very pro-abortion or pro freedom of choice, then go out and write a character who is sincerely, not a caricature, but sincerely anti-abortion. Go out and write, if you're a conservative and you believe that, everybody should be carrying a gun, go out and write a character who is vehemently anti-gun. Explore those feelings and those facts and those beliefs and write them not as a caricature, not as a mockery, but as this is what this character, believes, and make it believable. Stretch yourself as a writer, because if all you ever write is about what you believe, then you're not much of a writer. Go out there, push yourselves. Write something that's contrary to your stance and make it real, make it believable. Don't write it nasty. Explore how the other side thinks about something and then put it into words. Even if you walk away going, I will never do that again, it gives you the opportunity to stretch and grow and learn. So that's where I challenge you today. So go out this week, write, be good, be awesome. I'll see you next week.